Okay, good morning. On behalf of Police Commissioner Christopher Sapienza and the entire police department family, I'd like to welcome everybody here today. I'm Detective Captain Justin Barbado, Commanding Officer of the Internal Affairs Division, and I'll be your MC for today's ceremony. We're going to be recognizing 20 of our members for their promotions and designations. Although we have a large program today, I will highlight each member and their accomplishments and try my best to get everybody out of here by dinner time. At this time, I ask that you all please rise as the Yonkers Police Color Guard presents the colors.
I got left, face.
Please remain standing while Police Officer Virginia Creary sings our national anthem.
I got present arms.
Mose, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, met the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight more the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave more the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Forward march.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Yonkers Police Color Guard under the direction of Officer Cusick. Let's give them a round of applause. I ask that you please remain standing while our police chaplain, the Rabbi Mendy Hurwitz, invokes a blessing on our ceremony.
Almighty God, we gather to celebrate the promotions of the Yonkers Police Department. Bless these dedicated officers with wisdom, courage, and strength as they assume new responsibilities. Guide them in their commitment to justice and service. Keep them safe and may their work bring honor to their badge. We further pray that you bestow much good and reward upon these officers and their families as they've dedicated themselves to the service of the community to protect and preserve the lives of the men, women, and children that reside in our great city of Yonkers. May they return home safely, knowing they have made positive impact in their community. We also pray that they be protected physically and spiritually in all manner of their fulfillment as in their duties as police officers, and their personal lives as well. May our words be acceptable before you, God, and let us say Amen.
Thank you. You can be seated. We're honored today to have many dignitaries with us in attendance. As I introduce these dignitaries, please hold your applause until the end. With us today is the Mayor of the great city of Yonkers, the Honorable Mayor Mike Spano, Police Commissioner Christopher Sapienza, First Deputy Chief Dan Campanini from the Investigations Bureau, Deputy Chief Richard Alemo from the Field Services Bureau, and Assistant Chief Ralph Carosa from the Special Operations Bureau. Also with us are our chaplains, the Rabbi Mendel Horowitz and Reverend Melvina Carter. Our First Deputy Chief, Steve Levy, Deputy Mayor, Steve Levy. Our Chief of Staff, Denise Giziaco. Representing the CLSA is our Vice President, Detective Sergeant John Viviano. The President of the PBA, Police Officer Frank McDonald. Also with us is the President of our City Council, Lakeisha Collins-Bellamy. Our Majority Leader, Tasha Diaz. Our Minority Leader, Mike Breen. Representing Deanna Robinson from the 1st District is Angie Vasquez. And representing the 4th District for John Rubo is Brandon Hudson. Thank you. I would now like to invite our Mayor, the Honorable Mayor Mike Spano, up to the podium to say a few words.
Thanks, Captain. Good morning, everyone. Every time I come up here, I've been doing this now on my 13th year, and I'm trying to think of something new I can say, and because I'm sure that there are people behind me who sit there and listen to my speech and go, I've heard that before, and I've heard that before. But it is great to be here. It truly is. Joined with the Council President, the Majority Leader, and of course, Council Member Diaz. We're all here today because we're celebrating what it is that you all have done here in Yonkers. And you think about what has Yonkers Police Department, what has, the presence of this department, what has it really done for the residents of our city? And many people look at Yonkers. The governor talks to me about Yonkers all the time. She said, how is it that you guys, crime rates are so low? How is it that you guys graduate kids at a rate better than any other Big 5 city? How is it that you have over $5 billion worth of economic development happening? You're building affordable housing. People want to move here. You got Lionsgate. You have MGM. How is it all this is happening? And what I'll say to the governor and what I'll say to any new mayor, because that will listen to me, especially some of my Democratic colleagues who have seemed to lose touch on this issue. If you have the support of your police department, and if the police officers are driving in their cars, operating their business, and they're doing so in a proactive way, then you know what? Everything else will follow. If you have a good, safe community, then people will hear about that because the numbers don't lie. If they see the statistics are there, they'll want to move here. They'll want to raise a family here. They'll want to invest here. And that's what's the beauty of Yonkers, New York. That's our beauty, is that people want to come here. But it all starts with the men and women in blue. If we don't have you, then nothing else will follow. And we do have you. And we have been consistently, for over 20 years, one of the safest cities of our size in all of America. So you have a tremendous tradition here that starts with our commissioner, the brass, right down to the men and women in blue. Each and every one of you start from Yonkers. I'd love to keep more of you in Yonkers, but the fact that you start as residents of the city because you want to make Yonkers this place that you were brought up in, you want to keep it that way. And so thank you. Thank you for your hard work, your dedication, for your commitment. I know how hard it is to go out there and study for these exams. I realize how competitive it all is. And the time that you have to take away from your families in order for you to do this, to achieve these milestones. So congratulations, best of luck. Thank you for making Yonkers strong and keeping Yonkers this great city. And thank you for allowing us to continue the things that we can with your help and, of course, the support of your family. God bless you all. Nice to see everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Will all the promotees please stand as the mayor administers the oath of office?
Ask you to raise your right hand, and then I'll ask you to state your name, and then when I say the office, because there's many, just state your office. All right. I state your name.
I, Daniel Campanini,
Solemnly swear.
solemnly swear to
Support the Constitution of the United States of America.
support the Constitution of the United States of America,
Constitution of the State of New York.
the Constitution of the State of New York,
And the Charter of the City of Yonkers.
and the Charter of the City of
And
Yonkers.
I'll faithfully discharge the duties
I'll faithfully discharge the duties
of
of
the office of
the office of First Deputy Chief,
the best of my ability.
best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You can be seated. We're now going to move on to the presentations of the shields. As I call your name, please come up on the stage with the members of your family who will be pinning you. We're going to start with First Deputy Chief Dan Campanini. First Deputy Chief Dan Campanini is being recognized for his elevation to the rank of First Deputy Chief on September 18th of this year. Dan began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in January of 1997 and has almost 28 years of service. Deputy Chief Campanini began his career working in patrol in the 4th Precinct before being promoted to sergeant in January of 2004. As a sergeant, he worked as a first-line supervisor in the 4th Precinct. In March of 2007, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant, where he was assigned to the 3rd Precinct as a watch commander, and later moved to the 4th Precinct, where he was designated as the executive officer. In February of 2009, Chief Campanini was elevated to the rank of detective lieutenant and assigned to the detective division as the executive officer, and later as the major case coordinator. In August of 2016, he was promoted to the rank of captain and assigned as the commanding officer of the 3rd Precinct until September of 2017, when he was elevated to the rank of detective captain, where he commanded the detective division. In June of 2020, Dan was promoted to the rank of deputy chief and put in command of the Field Services Bureau, commanding all uniformed personnel in the department. In July of this year, he was moved to the Investigations Bureau and put in command of all detectives and investigative functions within the department. In September, he was designated First Deputy Chief. Chief Campanini has taken countless courses and classes related to policing and police administration, including being a graduate of the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association's Trilogy, and is currently enrolled in SUNY Delhi. He is here today with his wife, Leah, his son, 3rd Precinct Police Officer Nicholas Campanini, his in-laws, Phyllis and John J.C. Cosa, and finally, of course, his beautiful daughter, Brittany, is watching us live from Arizona. Congratulations. Deputy Chief Richard Alema. Deputy Chief Alemo is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of Deputy Chief on July 19th of this year. Chief Alemo began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in February of 1994 and has over 30 years of service. During his career, he worked in the 4th Precinct as a patrolman and as a Getty Square footman and bicycle officer before being promoted to sergeant in 2010. As a sergeant, he worked as a first-line supervisor in the 3rd Precinct, and in February of 2016 was promoted to the rank of lieutenant, where he was assigned to our communications division and later back to the 4th Precinct. During this time, he became the first electric bicycle officer in the city, focusing on the Getty Square area. In September of 2022, Rick was promoted to the rank of captain and assigned as the citywide patrol operations captain under his designation. As a deputy chief of field services, he was promoted on July 19th. Deputy Chief Alemo graduated from Iona University with a bachelor's degree and went on to earn a master's from Marist College. He's also a graduate of the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia, and the Harvard Kennedy School of Government's Executive education program. Aside from his rise through the ranks of the Yonkers Police Department, Deputy Chief Alemo was a member of the United States Marine Corps for over 26 years. He served 2 overseas deployments and later retired as a gunnery sergeant in 2016. He's here today with his wife Gigi, his children Isabella, Rick, and Alexandra, his parents Rick and Teresa, and his siblings Anthony and Elizabeth with their spouses. Congratulations. Captain Brian Collins. Captain Collins is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of captain on July 19th of this year. Brian began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in January of 2011 and has over 13 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 4th Precinct before being promoted to sergeant in 2016. As a sergeant, he worked as a first-line supervisor in the 3rd Precinct. In January of 2019, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant, where he was assigned to our jail, as well as both the 4th and 3rd precincts. As a lieutenant, Brian later became the executive officer of the 3rd Precinct, and then later became the executive officer of our Field Services Bureau. As a captain, Brian is now the commanding officer of the 1st Precinct. He is a graduate of Pace University and went on to earn his Juris Doctor from Fordham Law School. He's here today with his mother, retired Sergeant Loretta Collins, his sister Marissa, and his 2 brothers, Teddy and Yonkers Police Lieutenant Phil Collins. Captain Jared Singer. Captain Singer is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of captain on July 19th of this year. Jared began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in July of 2006 and has over 18 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 4th Precinct before being promoted to sergeant in 2014. As a sergeant, he worked as a first-line supervisor in the 3rd Precinct. In September of 2018, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant, where he was assigned to both the jail and the communications division. He then went on to work in the police commissioner's office and later in our inspections unit and the quality assurance division. As a captain, Jared is now commanding officer of our community affairs division. He is a graduate of Sarah Lawrence College and went on to earn a graduate degree from John Jay College. Jared is also our recording secretary for the Yonkers Captains, Lieutenants, and Sergeants Association. He's here today with his wife, Damaris, his father, Steve, and his sister, Jessica. Lieutenant Christopher Vingo. Lieutenant Vingo is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of lieutenant on July 19th of this year. Christopher began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in January of 2015 and has almost 10 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 4th Precinct before being promoted to sergeant in 2020. As a sergeant, he worked as a first-line supervisor in both the 1st and 3rd Precincts. As a lieutenant, he is now assigned as a watch commander in the 4th Precinct. Chris is a graduate from Fordham University and is here today with his wife, Nicole, and his newborn daughter, Brianna. Sorry, as well, his mom, Irene, is here also. Lieutenant Vincent Falcone. Lieutenant Falcone is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of lieutenant on July 19th. Vincent began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in July of 2015. Come on, I'm not that scary. Kids are much harder than patrol, trust me. So Vincent began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in July of 2015 and has over 9 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 4th Precinct before being promoted to sergeant in September of 2019. As a sergeant, he worked as a first-line supervisor in the 3rd Precinct and later went on to supervise the anti-crime unit. As a lieutenant, he is now assigned as a watch commander in the 3rd Precinct. He is a graduate from Fordham University and went on to earn a master's degree from Fordham and is also the current 2nd Vice President of the CLSA. He's here today with his wife Amanda and his children Jack, Joseph, and Charlotte. Lieutenant Carissa Davis. Lieutenant Davis is being recognized for her promotion to lieutenant on July 19th. Carissa began her career with the Yonkers Police Department in January of 2011 and has almost 14 years of service. During her career, she worked patrol in the 2nd Precinct before being elevated to the rank of detective specialist and being assigned to our crime scene unit. In February of 2020, she was promoted to sergeant, where she worked as a first-line supervisor in the 4th Precinct. As a lieutenant, she is now assigned to our communications division. She is also a graduate of Fairleigh Dickinson University. Lieutenant Nicholas Vecchiarello. Lieutenant Vecchiarello is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of lieutenant on July 19th. Nick began his career with the Yonkers Police in January of 2011 and has almost 14 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in both the 1st and 4th Precincts before being assigned to the training division. Nick was later promoted to sergeant in June of 2019. As a sergeant, he worked as a first-line supervisor in the 4th Precinct, then returned to the training division as a sergeant. As a lieutenant, he is now assigned as a watch commander in the 4th Precinct. He is a graduate of the University of Maryland and is here today with his wife Alexis and his children Luca, Gemma, and Rocco. Detective Sergeant Thomas Bragg. Detective Sergeant Bragg is being recognized for his elevation to the rank of Detective Sergeant on September 19th of this year. Thomas began his career with the Yonkers Police in July of 2007 and has over 17 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 3rd Precinct and later in the Pattern Crimes Task Force before being elevated to the rank of detective in December of 2018. As a detective, he was assigned to the Major Case Squad, the Narcotics Unit, and then went on to work as a task force officer in the DEA. Thomas was promoted to sergeant in March of 2022, and as a sergeant worked as a first-line supervisor in the 4th Precinct. He is now designated a detective sergeant and has been put in charge of our crime scene unit. He is a graduate of SUNY Delhi and Mercy College and is here today with his wife Maggie, his children Riley and Tommy, his parents Thomas and Mary, and his siblings Lindsay, Timmy, and Taylor. Sergeant Vincent Rita. Sergeant Rita is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of sergeant on July 19th. Vinny began his career with the Yonkers Police in July of 2016 and has 8 years of service. During his career, he worked both the 3rd and 4th Precincts, the 4th Precinct Anti-Crime Unit, and later in the Pattern Crimes Task Force. In December of 2022, he was elevated to the rank of Detective Specialist and remained in the Pattern Crimes Unit. As a sergeant, he currently works as a first-line supervisor in the 3rd Precinct. He holds a master's degree from Marist College and is here today with his fiancée, Gina, his parents, Dino and Marianne, and his sister, Stephanie. Sergeant Kenneth Creso. Sergeant Creso is being recognized for his promotion to sergeant on July 19th. Kenneth began his career with the Yonkers Police in July of 2014 and has 10 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 4th Precinct. During this time, he also worked as a field training officer, teaching our new recruits. As a sergeant, he currently works as a first-line supervisor in the 1st Precinct. He attended SUNY Binghamton and is here today with his wife, Vanessa, and his parents, Deborah and Michael. Michael's a retired Yonkers police lieutenant. Congratulations. Sergeant Matthew Cortine. Sergeant Cortine is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of sergeant on July 19th. He began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in January of 2011 and has almost 14 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 3rd Precinct, and in September of 2019 was elevated to the rank of detective, working in both Major Case Squad and the Digital Forensics Unit. As a sergeant, he currently works as a first-line supervisor in the 4th Precinct. He holds a bachelor's degree from Fordham University and is here today with his wife Jessica and his daughters Amelia and Madeline. Sergeant Dean Campana. July 19th was a big day. Sergeant Campana is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of sergeant on July 19th of this year. Dean began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in January of 2019 and has almost 6 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 3rd Precinct, and in March of 2023 was elevated to the rank of detective and worked in our Major Case Squad. As a sergeant, he currently works as a first-line supervisor in the 3rd Precinct. He's also a member of our Unified Response Team and is here today with his parents, Tal and Frank. Frank's a retired Yonkers detective, his sister, Martine, his grandparents, Anna and Frank, and his aunt, Antoinette. Sergeant Kevin Dempsey. Sergeant Dempsey is being recognized for his promotion to the rank of sergeant on July 19th. Kevin began his career with the Yonkers Police Department on January of 2019 and has almost 6 years of service. During his career, he worked as a patrol officer in the 3rd Precinct, and upon his promotion is now assigned as a first-line supervisor in the 2nd Precinct. Kevin's a graduate of Mercy University, and with him here today are his parents, Vincent and Brenda, and his siblings, Vincent and Raisa? Correct. Raisa. Detective Thomas Jackson. Detective Jackson is being recognized for his elevation to the rank of detective on July 19th. Thomas began his career with the YPD in July of 2017 and has over 7 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 3rd Precinct. In January of 2022, he was assigned as a field intelligence officer, and he was designated a detective specialist in December of 2022. Upon his elevation to the rank of detective this past July, he was assigned to our Major Case Squad. He is a graduate of the University of Delaware and is here today with his parents, Irene and Thomas, his brother Matthew, and sister-in-law, Catherine. Detective Michael Giusto. Detective Giusto is being recognized for his elevation to the rank of detective on July 19th of this year. Michael began his career with the YPD in July of 2016. Prior to joining the Yonkers Police, he worked for the Mount Vernon Police Department for 3 years, giving him over 11 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 4th Precinct, as well as the 4th Precinct Anti-Crime Unit. In April of 2021, he was detailed to the narcotics unit, and later in that year was transferred to the citywide Pattern Crimes Task Force, earning his designation as Detective Specialist in December of 2022. Upon his elevation to the rank of detective this past July, he was assigned to our major case squad. Detective Justo is a graduate of Iona College and is here today with his brother, Detective Eric Justo, and unfortunately his daughter got sick this morning and she's watching us from home, his daughter Ariana. Detective Specialist Maxwell Goldberg. Detective Specialist Goldberg is being recognized for his elevation on August 15th of this year. Max began his career with the Yonkers Police Department in January of 2020, having previously worked for the Scarsdale Police Department. Since 2017, this totals more than 8 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in both the 1st and 4th precincts. In May of 2023, he was transferred to the Crime Strategies Control Unit, where he is assigned to the Aware Room, earning this designation as Detective Specialist. Detective Goldberg is a graduate of Bates College and is also a certified EMT Class B. He's here today with his wife, Connie. Detective Specialist James Menton. Detective Specialist Menton is being recognized for his elevation on August 23rd of this year. James began his career with the NYPD in 2018, then transferred to the Yonkers Police Department in January of 2020, totaling 8 years of service. During his career, he worked patrol in the 3rd Precinct and later in the Anti-Crime Unit. In February of this year, he was transferred to the Crime Strategies Control Unit as a Field Intelligence Officer, earning his current Detective Specialist status. In July, he was also detailed to the Grand Larceny Auto Task Force. He attended SUNY Oneonta and Westcon State University and is here today with his parents, Tara and Jim, who's a retired NYPD detective, his grandparents, Jim and Joni, and his uncle Brian, retired Yonkers police detective. Police Officer Kathy Salem. All right, we got a new one. Officer Salem is being elevated today to the rank of Detective Specialist. Kathy began her career with the NYPD in 2017, then transferred to the Yonkers Police Department in January of 2020, totaling 8 years of service. During her career, she worked patrol in the 4th Precinct, and in April of this year, she was moved to our crime scene unit within the Detective Division, earning her Detective Specialist status today. She's a graduate of Mercy College and is here today with her Aunt Seda. Police Officer Vanessa Caplanche. Officer Caplanche is being elevated to the rank of Detective Specialist. She began her career with the Yonkers Police Department in July of 2017 and has over 7 years of service. During her career, she worked patrol in both the 1st and 4th precincts, and in April of this year moved to our Community Affairs Division, earning her designation as Detective Specialist. She is a graduate of John Jay College and is here today with her husband, Luis, her children, Luis and Angelina, and her mother, Ramona. Told you I'd make it quick. Now for his remarks, it's my privilege and honor to introduce to you the Commissioner of the City of Yonkers Police Department, Commissioner Christopher Sapienza.
Thank you, Justin. Morning. Today we are promoting a first deputy chief, a second deputy chief, 2 captains, 4 lieutenants, a detective sergeant, 5 sergeants, a detective, and 4 detective specialists. Clearly, there is no one left to supervise on patrol because everybody is here getting promoted today. First Deputy Chief Campanini is being appointed to First Deputy Chief, which is a designation historically reserved for our senior-most Deputy Chief. So Dan has more than 27 years of service, and great job, Dan. We are also acknowledging Rick Alamo's promotion to Deputy Chief. I served with Rick in the Marine Corps 34 years ago. With more than 30 years of service, Rick has more time than me on this job, too. We are also promoting Brian Collins and Jared Singer to the rank of captain. Brian and Jared are just about the smartest people I know and have distinguished themselves throughout their career. We are promoting Chris Vingo, Vinnie Falcone, Clarissa Davis, Nick Vecchiarello to lieutenant. Lieutenant is a crucial rank that we rely upon heavily. These are our YPD senators who represent their leadership at the command level. It is the pivotal rank where your job changes drastically and your responsibility increases exponentially. We are promoting Vinnie Rita, Ken Creso, Matt Cordian, Dean Campana, Kevin Dempsey to sergeant. This is where I start to feel old. I served in the Gulf War and later in the 3rd Precinct with Kenny's father, Mike Creso. I worked with Dean's father in ESU and in the housing unit. When we say YPD is family, we mean it. Sergeant is arguably the most important rank in the police department because they lead at the level of execution. In other words, the job gets done through them. It is important to note that Sergeants Campana and Dempsey insist on getting promoted at the same time. Mike Jusso, Thomas Jackson are being promoted to detective. These guys really distinguished themselves on patrol. It was only logical that they'd get promoted to detective. We are also promoting Maxwell Goldberg, James Menton, Kathy Salem, and Vanessa Kaplanch to detective specialist, or as I like to call it, detectives that don't have to wear a suit or work the clock. They each do a great job. Detective specialist is a sought-after billet, which again puts candidates in a position where they have to distinguish themselves. In the case of Max Goldberg, he proved himself in a voluntary position, so much that we essentially created the rank around his job. I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council for their continued support for promotions. At these ceremonies, I'm always reminded of the not-so-good old days in previous administrations where you would earn a promotion without any certainty that it would come to fruition. As a police officer working hard to be promoted, this would be disheartening. With Mayor Spano and the city council, that bureaucracy is a thing of the past. So thank you and enjoy your well-deserved promotions and enjoy your day.
Thank you, Commissioner. At this time, I ask that everybody please rise as our police chaplain, the Reverend Melvina Carter, offers a benediction on our ceremony.
Just want to say congratulations and Godspeed to you all. Let us now join together for the final blessing. Almighty God, our protector, we rejoice at the opportunity to share in this promotion ceremony. We thank you for this wonderful occasion. We are grateful for the dedicated public servants who have been elevated throughout this year. Be their shield of protection. Guide their thoughts and their steps, and bless them to perform their duties with integrity. We pray now for the unity and strength of the Yonkers Police Department. We ask that you grant wisdom to Commissioners Sapienza and the YPD brass. Shower your blessings upon Mayor Spano, our elected officials, and this great city. Oh God, keep us all safe. We also pray for the safety of our national law enforcement agencies, every branch of the United States military, and their respective families. Bless us now, Lord, as we depart from this place, but never from your presence. Amen.
Okay, this concludes our ceremony. I'd like to extend my congratulations to everybody and wish you all good luck in your new assignments. And would like to thank everybody here for coming out and supporting the Yonkers Police Department and our extended family, and wish everybody get home safely. Have a great day.